Hey guys, Margot here. So it's time for another transgender vlog. This one was requested by someone who's been following me for the beginning. More my transgender vlogs than my actual gaming, which it seems like those seem to be getting more um, views and popularity than anything. But I will leave his link down below. His username is Juice My Randomness. I hope I didn't screw that up, but it is down there for everyone to check out. He's such a nice guy. He's been so supportive of me doing this, and it's so weird because I never thought my small little transgender vlogs would make it to someone in the UK, but it did. At least I think I got all that correct, but this is going to be a tough vlog, so I wanted to dress up a little bit for you guys, do my hair, go a little bit more bold with my makeup. But this was requested by him to do a vlog that is more to do with my feelings of getting to this point and what I felt as a child and everything just feeling to that comes with being transgender. So it's going to be, I'm going to apologize, it's not going to be a nice, neat, organized little package for you guys. It's going to be a hodgepodge mess. But for this, I'm just going to be truthful. I tried writing it all out. I tried writing my thoughts out and wanted to get everything down. And then I'm just like, you know what? It's not flowing. It's not working. It sounds so forced. So I wanted to do just off the cuff. So here it is. It really started when I was a lot younger than this. We're talking 6, 7, maybe even before then. And, I didn't quite know the term or even how to express the feelings, but I felt different. I felt not really like I was ever in the wrong body. That's the weird thing with my transition. I've never felt like I was in the wrong body. Like I didn't look at the mirror and be like, "Oh my god, this is all wrong." I've always been kind of absent-minded to it, and it's always been, "Oh my god, something's missing, something's different." And I'll get into that all a little bit later in this, so you guys can kind of get everything. I'll try to do my best to stay in order. So, when I was younger, I would sneak into my sister's room, and I would steal some of her clothes, ones that weren't ever noticed if they were missing. And I would wait till everyone went to bed, and I would sneak downstairs into the bathroom and change into her clothes. And that was the first time I ever felt happy, and it took my breath away. And not just the fact that I was wearing clothes, but in a way, it felt like that one little piece of me, that missing piece, was there and was not fully completed, but I felt whole at the time. I felt amazing. And then, reality set in, and I felt scared, and I felt nervous and alone. That those are the biggest feelings I think all of us have across the board, male to female, female to male. We feel alone at the beginning and we don't know what to do. One, because if it starts as young as it started for me, you're too young to process that information, to even sit there and sort it out. So all I knew as a kid was something was missing, and when I put a dress on, I felt happy. Not I felt fully completed. I felt, amazing. I just felt happy. Like the world was just me. No one else. So I started to get a little older, and as I got older, it never really became an everyday thing for me. It never became an everyday, I have to do this, I have to do this. It was more of a pop up, but a frequent pop up. Like, it would pop up in my head, and I'd be like, oh my god, it became kind of like a drug a little bit. Like, I was itching to try it. I was itching to wear something girly and be happy. I was searching for that happiness. And so I would do the same thing, rinse, repeat. And then eventually I started to get very confused. And I would see how guys around me acted, and then I'd see my friends who were mostly girls and my sister, and I was so envious of them, the females, that caused the confusion. That's what caused it. My enviousness to my female friends and even my sister. And that's when I started making that one wish. And yet still it didn't click. But that wish was, I wish I was a girl. And so, with that wish, I would continue to dress up every once in a while. But then that confusion hit. I'm supposed to be a boy. I'm supposed to like sports, which I was never going to like sports to begin with, because I was just not athletic whatsoever. I was in t-ball in the outfield, and I picked flowers. There you go. But, so I started suppressing those urges, and then the more I suppressed it, whenever it popped up, the more I forgot about it. And eventually, those feelings around late middle school, early high school, I never thought about it. I never had those urges again. So it just stopped. And that's kind of when I started to really notice guys, and how handsome and beautiful they were. And so I'm like, oh, well, by then I knew what gay meant. I still had no idea what transgender meant, because, I wasn't really surrounded by it, and I wasn't shown it, or I wasn't thrown in that culture. But for some reason, I knew what gay meant, probably watching Sex and the City. Good job. That's how I learned most of the things I learned. Sorry. But, I knew what the word gay meant. I knew what those feelings were. So I started to identify as a gay man. And even then, I thought I was happy. I thought, this is it. I finally accepted who I was. And, that I went my whole high school and pretty much my college career as a gay man, thinking that's what that was. But throughout those years, I became more aggressive and more angry and more lonely and upset. And I'd yell at my friends, and I'd, just want to be alone. And I wouldn't, when I came home from summer from college, I'd barely hang out with anyone. I'd hang out with maybe 2 friends, and that was it. And then, I graduated college still feeling that emptiness, that anger and hatred towards everything and everyone, and I couldn't explain it. I went to therapy, and I went to yeah, I went to therapy, I talked that out, and it still wasn't fulfilling. It still wasn't going away. So then, I surprisingly became more aware of the transgender community more than I sort of was already. Still have never met a transgender person by this time, and it just never crossed my mind. But, I started going to conventions, and, I started having that urge again during conventions. I'm like, oh, that costume's so pretty, or, oh, she's so gorgeous. And that enviness came back. And the more envy and the more wonder I had, the more angry and the more upset I got because I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. Until surprisingly I dated this one guy whose sister was transgender, and he kind of just really liked to cross-dress, which is fine. I have no problem with that whatsoever. But it kind of opened the doors for me, so I started cross-playing female characters, and that was sort of an outlet, and I felt that happiness again. But this time I was out in public, and no one was telling me any different, and it was a whole new world for me. But that emptiness became more apparent. That part that I said a while ago, that something was missing, became more apparent. That feeling that last puzzle piece wasn't put in place. So I kind of started searching myself and didn't quite hit it. And surprisingly enough, what really broke the last straw that broke the camel's back, pretty much, was the Caitlyn Jenner situation. Public eye kind of portion of the world. When she officially came out and did the interview, and all that piled into one. And then I started watching people like Gigi Gorgeous and Princess Jules, and that I started to realize I feel more like them. I feel what they're feeling, and that gave me hope. Oh God, that gave me hope. It was such a beautiful feeling. Yeah, I was still scared because I had no idea how to even talk about it, go about it, even consider it. But then I started slowly telling my friends, and the more I told them, the more my own acceptance of what it was that was missing in my life sort of became more of a staple. Like, it was more reassuring, more solidified for me. And then one year at Anime Central, biggest convention here in Chicago, one I go to every year, I decided to cosplay Cinderella from the new movie. And I looked at this girl who was wearing the exact same costume, and she looked fantastic. And I turned to my one friend, Miss DBZ Babe. If you want to go check her out, I'll leave her link in the description bar as well. Sat there and made a comment. And, I know she wasn't saying it to be mean, but she said it to be truthful. And she's like, the reason she looks better is because she's an actual girl and you're not. And that hit home. And that's what opened the floodgates for everything. That one comment. because when I got back up to the room, I looked at the mirror and I'm like, that's what's missing. I officially felt it. I guess you can say I officially felt in the wrong body. That last puzzle piece finally was placed in the puzzle. I knew what was missing was the fact that my heart and my head were thinking as a female and were acting as a female. And looking back at everything my whole life, it made sense. I loved dressing up. I had feminine mannerisms. I would wave my hands around. When I would sit, I'd have my hand gently crooked. I would always push my bangs out of the way if my hair was just a little longer than that. Well, it would be about there, and I'd push my bangs out of the way so softly and kind of just do very feminine looks, and I'd be like that. It would all piece together, and then I'm like, holy crap, that's what's been missing. That's what that loneliness was. And so I was still very confused, and I didn't know if these were just feelings of my own finally coming to surface, which I was pretty dead set on that they were, but I still had some doubt. So it was probably 90% sureness and 10% doubt. So I'm I'm gonna look for a therapist, and I'm gonna talk to her and get all my feelings out, and then we'll kind of sort them from there. And I did. And it was amazing what I discovered. And then that, a few months in, I finally accepted it and said, this is what I want. This is what I want to do. And so I set forth to start doing it. And the more I talked about it and the more it became a reality, the more happier I felt, the more naturally happier I felt. I became less angry. I became more ecstatic about life and enthusiastic about projects at work, and everything became lighter. And that feeling of me when a little kid dressed in my sister's dress, looking at myself in the bathroom mirror, being the only one in the world, that feeling came back. And that feeling made me so happy. And sorry, I really don't want to cry. My makeup looks fantastic and on point, and I still need to take a picture so I can recreate this tomorrow, because I have a therapy session tomorrow. But for the first time in my life, after I fully admitted it, oh god, I'm an ugly crier. I'm really trying not to cry. I felt happy and alive and scared and worried, nervous about everything. And I still had to conquer the biggest thing, and that was telling my family. So I had to be pretty damn sure. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna cry. I love my makeup way too much. I'm not gonna cry. Give me a second. Thankfully, no tears have appeared. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Um, so I had to tell my parents, my family, my sister, and I did. First, I told my sister, and that was a weight off my shoulder. We went to New Orleans, and we talked and talked and talked about it. And she was so excited, and to see her excited got me excited and happy and fulfilled. Then I had to tell my mom, and sadly I told her when we were in an argument, which, let me tell you one thing, never do it like that. I'm chicken shit to begin with, so I will pick a fight just to say something important, but for those out there who really want to be true to themselves, don't do it like that. And then that was amazing, and my mom was rocky at first, and then she became more like around to it. She came around to it. And then I had to tell my dad. And my dad was, I was so scared to tell him. I was so nervous and afraid. Not that, which was stupid, because in my case I knew my dad would be okay with it, but I didn't want to disappoint him. It was bad enough he already had a gay son. Now his son wanted to become a girl. And I don't want him to be sad and be upset. But I told him. And I'm getting emotional again. And he said, that no matter what I chose for my life, what path I decide to go down, oh great, there goes some of my makeup. Hey, good to know my mascara is waterproof. He said no matter what path I chose in my life, he would always be my father, and he would always be proud of me. I'm sorry, guys. And he said that he'd be in my corner. And I never felt more happy and alive than I did after that. I mean, we still have a lot to talk about. He hasn't seen me dressed like this. I don't even think he's seen any of my vlogs, which I don't think he can take right now. He still needs to wrap his head around a lot. But I've always wanted hair like this, draped over my eyes, so dramatic, so classic Hollywood, driving me the fuck up the wall. But to have him behind me, in my corner, that feeling of loneliness disappeared. So those pieces that I felt all my life were finally falling into place. Now, I'm only still at the beginning of all this. been on testosterone blockers for 2 months and going on my second month for the hormones. And it's a bumpy ride already. It is a bumpy ride already, but I will clue you in later. I'm already getting to 25 minutes. This is going to be a long vlog, guys. But, you know, as up and down as my emotions were throughout my life, I don't regret any of it. I don't take back any of it because it's what made me me. Do I regret that one day that I decided to sit on the couch for the entire summer and eat Cheetos? Oh yeah. Thank you, double chin. Thank you, more rounder body. But I'm working on that. But if that's the only thing I have to worry about right now, so be it. I mean, I still have to have a doctor's appointment now because it's been 1 month on the hormones. We have to check everything and make sure everything's a-okay, but I will do all that in a vlog later. So that's it for this vlog. Remember, guys, do what you do best. Like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to do the most important thing. Stay classy.